That English four-letter F word. I'm not sure who came up with this idea, Gary. Uh, but that word has the power to alter your perception of reality. And at the same time, create massive shifts right down to the cellular level of your body. In essence, it can take over complete control of the world that you experience and how you interact with it. So stick around as we dethrone fear in your life and put it in the place where it serves us instead of us serving it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hacking the Infinity Matrix, where every week we bring content to those who are not afraid to explore what it means to unplug from a reality that has so many people completely dependent on a system that they continue to fight so hard to hold on to its limits.
So true.
Our mission, our mission is to bring you more choices of empowerment, abundance, wholeness, and freedom into the mix, to allow your creator within to emerge and prepare you for entry into life's master laboratory where you can fully test the boundaries of what you and others consider to be reality. What if all you ever knew was not what it appears to be? What if we could expose to you that it's infinitely more? This is episode 55, The Undisclosed Power of Fear in Transforming Your World. As you jump on and join us today, please go ahead and tell us, like Demetrius already has, please go ahead and tell us in the comments section where you're tuning in from. And to add a little variety today, if you're in a country that speaks a language other than English, go ahead and also type in the word that you use in your language for fear. And just so we can kind of have some fun, and we may butcher the we may butcher
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
the sayings, but we can have some fun with that. And oh, someone says no picture and no sound. Says it's live though. Ross, do you want to double check that?
Yeah, let me take a look.
Demetrius said he's got loud and clear. Everybody, just if you can kind of let us know in the comments if you can see us and everything's sounding and looking good. Because okay, everybody, just if you can kind of let us know in the comments if you can see us and
I've got
everything's
us up and
sounding
live.
and looking good.
So if you're not getting us, you might want to just simply.
Just if you can kind of let us know in the comments if you can see us. Okay, there we go.
There we go. So yeah, if you're not getting us, then just simply refresh your browser.
Yeah, or pop close the browser and reboot it.
Yeah.
But thanks for letting us know. Anyways, and so yeah, so if this is your first time joining us, please let us know in the comments that it's your first time, so we can properly welcome you into the community. When we're done here. So let's have some fun today and get you guys participating as in a variety of different ways today. To get the stream started off, why don't you go ahead and tell us in the comments an acronym that you have for the word fear, F-E-A-R. Okay. Most people out there with one of the most common ones, I guess, out there is that I believe, anyways, that I hear and see out there is false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. So let's see what some of the other acronyms that you guys have out there for fear, and then we'll see where some of your creativity comes from, and then we'll throw some into the mix as well. So
come on, bring it on. Come on.
Yeah, let's see what you guys got out there for fear. What do you got for acronyms?
What does the F stand for? What does the E stand for? What does the A stand for? And the R.
And we'll throw some in the meantime here. So for everything, a reason, F-E-A-R. Or feeling excited and ready.
Forgetting everything about reality. I've had days like that. We were just talking about that this morning.
Future events already ruined.
Okay.
Come on, you guys. Some of you guys have some acronyms out there. I know you do.
You do.
Drop them in the comments for us.
Everybody's on dictionary.com.
Yeah, exactly. There's one from author Robert Kiyosaki that he uses in his talks is fail early and responsibly. Right.
Nice one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's this? Let's see, fighting ego against reality. That's good. That's good. We
Right.
talked about that for a year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
then
nice.
fantastic, electrifying, affirming reactions.
Yeah, that doesn't evoke fear.
Our chat dead people because you guys aren't commenting. Why has nobody got? I can't believe nobody on this call has any acronyms for fear. That blows my mind. Wow.
Yeah, Gary, I just got a little bit of kind of a warning
From
on the Facebook feed.
come on, Facebook, stop doing this stuff to us.
I know. Okay, let's move on.
All right. So again, we'll go through some others. So we'll fill them up because it's actually a really good exercise for you to do, and we'll talk about why in a second. But when you can take a word that has so much power and transform it so that it's got more malleability, and then so I have reception problems. So do not an acronym, but I love feel the fear and do it anyway. Got it. Okay. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good saying for it. Sure. Feel
that.
the fear, anyways. Yeah, excellent.
That's kind of what our talk about is today.
Yeah, kind of. And so what about feeling enlightened actions reactivated, right? Or faith effortlessly ascending radiance. And you guys are welcome to use these and share them. All right. Mary says the picture's frozen. Well, that's bizarre. What is going on?
My feed's fine over here.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's a Facebook issue or we'll just go ahead and if we'll just have to maybe re-upload the recording if this stream doesn't properly go, right? Yeah. All right, so flexibility encourages artistic reasoning. All right, or fun experience activating readiness.
There you go. I like that one.
Right, or fortunate enchantment awakening redemption.
That sounds like a book title.
Yeah, right. Now, while this may seem like a trivial exercise, I'll let you in on a little secret. That's actually a big secret. So maybe that's why we're getting this glitch in the matrix that's going on for people that are watching it. Maybe they don't want this secret out, but a little secret that's a big secret. A fun and fast and stealthy way to transform a less than positive experience is to redefine it in so many ways that the old way doesn't have a chance to impact you the way that it did. Now, I'm not even going to suggest that right there is a deeply profound hack into the infinity matrix. An absolutely guaranteed way to take a 180 from the ultimate destroyer of your dreams. Because then, everyone here might fully step into their infinite power, and that might put fear in the mind of others, and they know who they are.
Exactly. Fear is a distressing emotion, and it's aroused by impending danger, evil or pain, and etc. So whether the threat is real or imagined, the feeling or condition of being afraid is definitely real. That is for each individual's perception of the situation. And this goes into what Gary was saying about the definition. But here's what many don't realize is that fear is a form of communication. Those feelings of dread, apprehension, and anxiety are telling you something has is or is about to cause harm by your perception. Just like pain in the body is the body's way of communicating that something is or is about to be or could be damaged. So, and going back to the acronyms, I've always loved Zig Ziglar's definition of fear, and he always says fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Yeah.
And he says, but the choice is yours. It always comes down to that, doesn't it? It always comes down to choice. Some people react differently to things that are scary. They did a study, it was published in the journal Communications in 2010, which found that people who like horror movies tend to enjoy feeling really intense emotions like fear. When you're scared, your brain's immediate response is to go into fight or flight mode. When this happens, your entire body reacts. Your heart races, your muscles tense. It can even cause you to scream and or to jump. When we watch a horror movie, it stimulates the brain and the brain responds with physical and emotional sensations we call fear. So believe it or not, many people crave this and think it's a lot of fun. At least that's what Dr. Catherine Brownlow of Ohio University says. She says creating artificial fear situations like scary movies or daring extreme sports challenges our beliefs about risk. And in some ways, it can reset the thermostat for people so that things that had seemed intimidating may be easier to deal with in the future. For instance, some people may find that after watching an hours long, Halloween scare fest, it's not as scary to ask their boss for a raise or face a budget shortfall or prepare for a public speech. These situations, like horror movies or extreme events, which are meant to scare you, and according to Dr. Brownlow, there's a good reason why. The experience of your brain calming itself down after experiencing these events is actually neurochemically very pleasurable. She says that's because the dopamine release that's related to the rest and digest brain response causes an increase of well being. So, in another study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, Dr. Arthur Aaron found that fear arousing situations can increase the attraction between two people. But aside from increasing attraction, it can even bring you closer together. Now, I'm not sure if I'm too impressed with this particular one because, I think a lot of high school guys already had this figured out. you know, some think that these events access a deeper part of our collective consciousness as humans, drawing us closer when we have a shared experience of being afraid of the dark or the ghouls or the axe murderers, whatever it might be. When you're vulnerable with another person, you're like an exposed nerve, biologically at the mercy of your psyche. And this creates a powerful sense of intimacy. And we as a species have many reasons for why we create fear. Sometimes it's because we have become so complacent in our lives that the only way we will allow ourselves to have excitement in the moment is to create a fearful situation. But this is a learned reaction, primarily because we have been taught that it may be the only thing that is exciting. Have you ever found yourself doing something that's so out there, out of character, out of the box, just to have a little something to excite you one way or another, whether it be good or whether it be bad? There's a whole industry on this. Bungee jumping. Look how popular bungee jumping is. Have you ever watched the videos of the people that, before they're going to jump? They're terrified until they've done it like, 5, 10 times. Then all of a sudden they're just like, I don't need this rope. you know? So generally speaking, fear occurs in your life when you have been taught to believe and you buy into the belief that there are portions or thoughts or ideas of yourself that you might discover can do harm to yourself or someone else in one form or another. And these things just don't happen. They're learned. So when you're afraid to face the things that come up in your life, when you do not pay attention to the messages that are delivered from your higher self, then that portion of yourself, in attempting to deliver that message, will become louder and more obnoxious until you pay attention. And I'll reference again what I said earlier, the comparison to the physical body communicating injury or illness. It will continue until you stop and listen. And if you don't, it will make you listen.
Yep.
The mind and the body know what primarily is right for you. So fear usually only brings you a recognition of a portion of yourself that you have not been willing to face up at that point. All you need to do is face the fear and acknowledge that if you are fearful, you chose to believe in the need to receive the message in a fearful way. And this is a process we cover in our new Master Lab series program called Fear 180. And we'll be dropping more details about that soon. So that you can pay attention and recognize the fears you carried with you all these years. And also the ones you've learned along the way. When you're free, you can integrate these experiences into your being so that you can grow and expand as a freed being. And once you allow yourself to recognize why you would have chosen to perceive these fears and allow them to continue running your life, your curiosity and your fascination will take over. And then you can explore the idea of where, what, and who taught them to you. Then you can decipher the true message the fear is delivering. And before you know it, your fear is dissolved. No, not dissolved, transformed. Transformed into a different energy, a different guidance, a tool that you can utilize because now you are paying attention to the messages it's delivering. So, does anyone know that where this puts you? Does this sound familiar at all? Anybody getting it? That's right. Right back into the eye of the storm. You're right back at the choice convergence point. The fear transforms into data, information, messaging, coding to receive and transmit into the infinity matrix. As soon as you say you are ready to accept the messages of fear, it becomes quicker and quicker. And then the next time it comes back, you won't react fearfully like you did the last time because you are willing to receive the message faster and with openness. And now you begin a new exploration of why am I feeling this? What am I believing? Am I fearing something? What am I fearing? Oh, that's what I'm fearing. Okay, why? A series of questions to dissect it, to tear it apart. Once you acknowledge that you have chosen to fear it, it's back in your control. So do you still choose to fear it? Probably not. Not now. Now understand that all this perceived fear you may be experiencing now is intentional. Okay, current events. It's artificially created and put in your path to keep you out of focus, out of control, off balance rather than imbalanced, and afraid and fearful of someone else's story or version of your future. So they call it fear. And now you, as a grand creator, call it energy, sustenance, power. And truly, you will become the stuff of legends and the master of your reality. And no one can take that from you unless you choose to allow it.
Yeah. Or unless Facebook seems to freeze our content so you don't get it, which seems to be happening for some of you. So if that's the case, continue to listen with the audio if you're still getting audio, or again, try refreshing your browser because some people are seeing it clearly and some aren't. We're not sure what's going on with that. So what's the big deal about this F word? And maybe that's what triggered Facebook when we started off. So who knows? But is it really something that can transform your world? Um, you know, who here knows what it's called when you have an extreme fear, right? If you do, just go ahead and let us know in the comments. If you know what it's called when you have an extreme fear, let us know in the comments, because the word fear is so intertwined into our collective consciousness that it has another word to describe it when it gets to extreme. Right? And that is a phobia, right? So in advanced levels of the infinity process that Ross and I teach, we go in depth about the importance of an individual's and a society's lexicon and how it can have an impact on the reality they share, right? So a lexicon is a collective set of words a person or society uses to describe and relate with what they experience, right? So in essence, if we can first develop a lexicon of empowerment and enlightenment individually, and then as a society, then we would be able to live in a reality of empowerment and enlightenment. And the reason I mention this is because if you look at the Inuit Eskimos, they're said to have approximately 50 words for snow, right? And over 100 different ways to describe it. So do you think that they have a different reality experience around snow than most of us? Absolutely, because their lexicon allows them to intermingle with that experience of reality in a different way, in a completely different way, right? Well, if we now bring our attention to English, and it would be interesting to check this with other languages too, but for the extreme version of fear, which is phobia, did you know that there are at least 100 different phobias with names and descriptions? I mean, think about that. I mean, what do you think? What do you think that tells us about how we're conditioned and the reality experience that our collective consciousness is tapped into? Right? I mean, think about that. Have you ever heard of a type of phobia? I'm sure you have. Right? In fact, go ahead and tell us in the comments, what type of phobias have you heard of or heard about? Go ahead and tell us in the comments the name of the phobia if you know the name, and what the extreme fear is of it if you know it. All right? And there are even, again, in our society, there have been movies that have been made about these fears and these phobias. So much so that the phobias have evolved because of the movies. Right? There were people prior to, if you've ever seen the movie Jaws, right? If you've never seen the movie Jaws, prior to the movie Jaws coming out, people didn't really have a fear of swimming at the beach and worrying about the
Right.
Jaws coming up and taking off their leg, and it's a valid fear. Yes, there's a valid concern, maybe not necessarily fear. There's a valid concern that you need to be aware of when going into certain waters. Absolutely, but people had a phobia to the point where any shallow level of water they couldn't step into because they had that fear of Jaws coming up and on land and grabbing them and pulling them in. Right? And this was because of a movie. Right? So, if even if you've never heard of it or had a name put on the fear or phobia itself for yourself, the fact that it exists in the collective consciousness means that you could develop it. Right? Here are a few, okay, from the P section in the list of phobias that currently are official phobias. Okay, and again, forgive me if I butcher some pronunciations because they're psychological terminology, right? So the first one is papyrophobia, which is fear of paper. Think about that. Okay. Okay. It's
That's why I never did my homework.
It's got a category that's official. It's papyrophobia, fear of paper. Okay. The pathophobia, which is fear of disease, which, if you've been on the planet Earth for the last 2 years, has been one that's been kind of leaked into our society and is leaking out into our mind frames. Right? This one is pedophobia, which is a fear of children. Okay, so a phobia of children. Okay.
And we forget that we were children, so it's a fear of ourselves.
Yeah, and how do you have memories? I mean, anyways, that's a whole other rabbit hole, right? Philophobia, which is fear of love. I mean, think about that. A society where people can develop a phobia for love. Something is amiss here, right? Phobophobia, fear of phobias.
I think there's some psychologists out there that were just really bored.
So
And
anyways,
we're not in any way, if you have one of these phobias, we are not in any way making fun of you.
No, that is not it. But I think it's important to bring to perspective that we can have a society that has this level of fear around these types of things.
Correct.
Right? Podophobia, which is fear of feet, or pogonophobia, which is fear of birds, which, again, was enhanced in society after, if you never saw Albert Hitchcock's movie Birds, that was after that. It was, I mean, even still today, you watch it and you're like, it's, you start to watch your airspace, and then porphyriophobia, which is fear of the color purple. I mean, come on. Why purple? Why is purple getting the bad?
There's a whole segment that never went to a Prince concert. That's all I can say.
I mean, what the heck, people? Oh. These are real phobias that people have. And again, we're not downgrading. Our intention is not to in any way to discount or insult people who experience these fears, because to them it's real, right? It's to bring into question, how is it possible that as a society, we've got to a place where a bearded teacher giving out paper and crayons could ignite a chained phobic reaction? Right? I mean, it goes back to what I started off with in the stream with, right? Look at the definitions you give things and how you define the things that generate fear on any level of intensity.
Yeah.
Then actively work on creating so many ways to redefine it that the old definition doesn't stand a chance of sticking around long enough for you to actually feel it. And you wouldn't need any drugs. You wouldn't need any therapy. You would just have a new definition of what that means to you and how you relate to it. Okay? And the more you can eliminate irrational fears, right? And that's the key here. Irrational fears, because fear serves us, which Ross did a whole section on talking about how it can serve you, right? But when you can eliminate irrational fears, the more you start to open up to infinite love and light. Love and light that the universe has waiting for you. Because fear moves you away from loving yourself. It moves you away from loving others. It moves you away from loving all that is. Fear actually hides the destructive light. Sorry, hides the light and puts you into the destructive darkness. Right? It puts you in it because there is a darkness that can heal and rejuvenate. So the destructive darkness is what fear puts you into. Right? And it limits the beauty that you can enjoy in your life. So when you have excess fear, it disrupts your body and brain homeostasis, which is the state of steady internal physical and chemical conditions that is needed to maintain a living system. So everything from body temperature to fluid balance to blood flow and organ functions. Your immune system becomes compromised. Your thought process are hindered. Your entire nervous system actually starts to draw from the resources from the internal, like the organs. It draws from within to create energy to your extremities to be used for fight, flight, or freeze response. Because not just fight or flight, because not everybody fights or flights. Sometimes they freeze, right? So it's fight, flight, or freeze response, but it goes to the extremities because freeze means you're in anticipation and you're kind of in ready mode, but not actually doing anything, right? All right. So when it's great if you turn the corner and a tiger is staring you down, right? So it's good there, right? Right?
Freeze! Don't freeze.
Not the freeze part, but the fight or flight and the energy going to your extremities so that you have one of those options, right? But that system is not designed for long-term use. Yet our society has been creating these situations and circumstances where underlying there's a layer of it happening on a steady stream for so many people. And while that state of increased fears happens, right, while you're in that state of increased fears, even if it's a small dose of it and it's constant, your internal organs make the sacrifice and give up oxygen, give up blood and other resources. And if the fear is held for too long, those organs and those systems will suffer. Right? As Ross mentioned. And this happens even on subtle level of experiencing fear. So it can be a big gushing energy drain like a fire hydrant, like where it's like an adrenaline rush, or it can be just a steady leaking faucet, drip, drip, dripping away like Chinese water torture, dripping away your life energy. Right? The sad thing is that even in psychology, right, they say that fear and other variations of that emotion are considered to be normal states of consciousness. I mean, think about this. Okay? Think about this. I'm going to list them off. Okay? Anger, shame, resentment, aggression, frustration, impatience, competition, envy, hatred, jealousy, anxiety, hopelessness, worry, pain, suffering, guilt, powerlessness, and fear are all considered by psychology as a general, not everybody, but by psychology, to be normal states of consciousness.
It keeps them employed.
So think about that, though. That would imply that those are normal default states for humans. And I beg to differ. Okay. I've played in the game of change technology for a long time. So has Ross. And I think that those have been conditioned states of consciousness. And they had to be conditioned states of consciousness because our normal human states of consciousness are love, compassion, kindness, harmony, and enlightenment. Soon as you stop feeling the fear, stress, anxiety, and any of those other emotions that we talked about, soon as you stop feeling those fear-based and fear, associated emotions, your body and mind automatically go back into reset mode to get back to homeostasis.
Yeah.
So that should tell us that that's our normal state, not the other ones, right? And when that happens, energy can come back. Healing can come back, growth can come back, and you can feel whole again. In Future Stream next month, we're actually going to be doing a whole session, a whole live stream session on how to masterfully navigate the emotional whirlwinds in life. But if you want to dive deeper into this or any of the topics, of course, you can join us on Down the Rabbit Hole on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. PST. I'm going to have it run down the bottom side just here. It's going to run down the bottom. You will see the link. Just go to that link and you can register for the Zoom link and join us on Zoom for a live interactive conversation where we can kind of explore this and anything else that you want to get into for that time when we're on it. It's a great session if you can jump on it. Again, I keep saying every week, if you haven't jumped on it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for because it's really good. Block the time off, set it, get the link, show up 8 a.m. PST Saturday morning, hackingtheinfinitematrix.com/rabbit hole, get the register for the Zoom and show up. And that's our stream for today, everyone. Thanks for sticking around and participating today even with all the, because I saw there was a few different glitches within the stream and Facebook. So that's beyond our control. Hopefully you can come back and catch the replay if you missed out on certain pieces of it. And we appreciate you participating, and we feel grateful to have you join us on these streams. Till next time, be well, everyone. And remember, we dare you to be exceptional. Implement these hacks and master the art of designing your reality.
That's it. And so we don't know the quality of the replay that's going to be on Facebook, but this is definitely already posted on our YouTube channel. So check it out there.
So youtube.com/The Infinity Matrix.
Perfect.
Be well, everyone.
Thank you.